Hey, Ghost Machine fans, this one's for you.
Welcome to the Ghost Machine Fans Podcast, episode 72. With Pranky transformed into a wolf boy, Mr. X-Ray enlists the help of a newly appeared resident, Dr. Ego. That's right, in this episode we'll be strolling back down the scariest street this side of the horrorverse, with a release day deep dive into Hyde Street number 8. I am Snoggle, and as usual, I'm joined by my partner in crime, Nick. Nick, how are you doing today?
I'm ready to go back to the scariest sector of Ghost Machine as another wonderful distraction from real life.
It's spooky.
You know what Bruce told me today? He said, like horror. I like horror. And I think it's kind of he means like Wednesday and the Meg, right? You know what I mean? So it's interesting how that term is applied to a lot of different things nowadays.
Well, and I think, being a 9-year-old, he's acclimating himself to horror. I like monster movies. That's my horror verse.
Yeah, and that would be other 9-year-old Godzilla, etc. Same thing too, but it's a wide range. And at the end of the day, if Hyde Street was to appear on the silver screen or the small one, it probably would be a bit more gruesome than most of those that we're talking about. So, But before we get back to the street that we all will end up on one day, we need to talk about a shout out. And this one is going to go out to an Instagram account called TheComicBookBlock. That is spelled exactly the way it sounds. All one word, the comic book block, BLOCK at the end. They do some cool comic book review posts with scores out of 10 and then a rundown. And they did one for Sisterhood, a Hyde Street story, number 2. And it was, they gave it a 9 out of 10. That's pretty good. And they invited us to collaborate with them on that. As is almost always the case, we love it when people want to collaborate with us on social media. That's why we try to keep all the different platforms humming as much as we can, along with everybody else out there that's beating the drum. And so thanks very much to the Comic Book Block for collaborating with us on a review of Sisterhood, a Hyde Street story, number 2. I'm really liking that series. I'm hoping it's leading to more and more Maytal and Layla collaboration in the future.
I agree.
But before we get super scary, it's time for the news.
So today, this episode airs on Wednesday, August 20th, which is the release date for the book we are talking about, Hyde Street number 8. Also, it is official. Rook Exodus is coming back from number 7 and is available for pre-order now. On sale October 1st. Check out the very cool Ghost Machine Pro, and Jason Fabok recently posted about it on our and their Instagram.
Yeah, that's another good one that we recently got a collaboration request on. And obviously, we always love it when we get one from those folks, right? And it's Jason talking about that. Spawn cover pops up in the reel, so there's some cool stuff that he talks about there. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but if you haven't seen that reel, make sure to go out there and check it out. And that's just around the corner, like today is the 20th of August, like you said, and this book comes out the first day of October. So that's, 5.5, 6 weeks from now. And it's very exciting. Highly anticipated. I'm excited to see how much more we learn about the Stag Warden, or the warden named Stag, the Deer Warden, or whatever. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's been a long time coming.
Literally. Yes. That's true.
You didn't see what I did there, but I am going to shamelessly try to drop in as many Taylor Swift puns as I can on this episode.
Oh no. Why? Is that because she just had her episode with her boyfriend or whatever?
No, she's got, well, kind of, but she's releasing her 12th studio album.
Oh, it's very exciting. I'm glad that she's been able to penetrate to this niche so that the Ghost Machine fans have now can be exposed to Taylor Swift, because I'm sure that otherwise they never would have found her without your assistance.
Never.
That's right.
New up and coming artist, Taylor Swift.
Yeah. I know all the other Swifties out there really appreciate you, though. That's a thing. You got to keep the home fires burning, as they say. Yep.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Well, enough about that. Let's talk about these covers. Are you ready for it?
It's so terrifying.
It is terrifying.
I really like these covers. No, they're pretty cool. I actually have a particular favorite, which I don't know if you'd guess it or not. But yeah, let's talk about them. Let's talk about them in order. We've got that first cover by Yvonne Reis, Danny Mickey, and Brad Anderson. And it's Pranky reading a comic by candlelight wearing Mr. X-Ray's glasses. And the comic he's reading is the same comic he's in, which is cool.
Cover B, where we've got some really fun Miss Goodbody exercise video on a beach, very 80s. There are two zombies because the parasite worked so well that they're now nothing but a corpse.
And that's appropriate because we haven't seen her in a little bit, and we see her for a moment as they walk by her store here on their way to Dr. Ego's,
Yeah.
And
I like on this one that the one on the left with the pink bathing, whatever, their arm fell off and it is just beneath them.
The third one is my favorite one. Oh, and I'm going to get in trouble with friend of the show for that. But the third one is my favorite one because I really, like I've said it many times before, I really like Kyle Hotz, and he kind of reminds me of Kelly Jones, but the more and more I've actually been reading stuff that either of them have done, I don't feel that same way. And it's just such a cool cover with Dan Brown colors, who's always with Kyle Hotz, as far as I know. Mm-hmm. And it's the matinee monster kind of like propped up looking over the city type of deal, something like that. And it just looks, the way he does the detail and the horror-y gore and accentuates features in the way that he does, really appeals to me.
You know what I just realized? I think in that first cover, the like little stuffed animal that Pranky has is the matinee monster. Because it's got those little screws all in the head and the mouth is sewn shut because I'm going to assume he typically doesn't talk.
Yeah, that's definitely the matinee monster, for sure.
What about that D cover?
Yeah, that's like my second also favorite. Because
it's a scream.
It's another one of those 1-for-20 ratio variants by friend of the show, Sean Don Gorman.
Yes, love it. Love.
As a result of Sean Von Gorman's influence in the world, our Instagram account is followed by the Lawrence brothers. Which makes me very happy.
All three of them? Do they have like a combined?
Yeah,
is it Matt?
That sounds. Yeah, no, it's not. It's no. I digress. I would not deign to say that Joey Lawrence has actually taken the time to follow my Instagram account. It's the Lawrence Brothers Detective Agency Instagram account has followed ours because that is Sean's newest foray into the artistic domain. He's doing the Lawrence Brothers Detective.
I love it.
It's really cool.
I love everything about it.
This is one of those covers, this Sugar Scream. It's another one of the 1-for-20 ratio variants Ghoul Grains covers that supposedly we were told originated because Jeff Johns has an old school cereal box collection. And then Yvonne did some designing, and then Sean came up with the final work here. And it is awesome. And these ones, I think more folks have gotten maybe their hands on a little bit because they knew to order them. That first one was super hard to find, but this one, I think a few more folks are grabbing it. Plus, all these are on Threadless too. There are t-shirts for them. So very, very cool cover. We really dig Sean's work anywhere and everywhere we can find it. But that means it's about time for us to turn down that street you don't go down, which makes this your official spoiler pause for Hyde Street, number 8. All right, we're here. We made it. Hopefully we won't end up a victim. Like, really, because after Sisterhood, it's genuinely, it's like, I don't want to go Hyde Street. That's not good. You know what I'm saying? So.
And it looks like anyone could end up a victim.
I know. But not just anyone could put together such a fantastic comic book. So, Snoggle, can you give us a creator roll call?
Our creators are Jeff Johns and Ivan Rees. Our inker is Danny Mickey. Our colorist is Brad Anderson. Last but not least, our king of letters, Rob Lee.
Rob Lee. Fantastic. Only one man can letter so much, and that's Rob Lee.
I like how this one starts off with the rain.
There is a street just around the corner, both familiar and unknown. A street branching off every small town square and cutting through every big city avenue.
It is a place where the wicked and cruel are drawn to. The crossroads of morality and madness, with the inevitable destination of not merely death, but something far worse. It is a place we call
Hyde Street.
Well, the thing is, that whole thing makes me want to see it on a TV show. And I don't watch TV much at all. I just read comics. But that kind of thing, it's like, yeah, I want that intro, and I want a lot of episodes of that. It's good. Like the tone of it obviously is super dark, and we don't realize we're gonna start in Sisterhood's psychic shop. You know, we're like, oh, it's like that's really. I like that pacing from Ghost Machine that we're seeing her appear in this around the time that we're seeing the things develop in the miniseries.
Oh yeah.
And it's a really awesome. I love the way that Yvonne draws candles that are like hiss, like you can hear like the candles slow hiss of burn, like the burning.
Oh yeah. So it starts off with this guy said, I did something bad. Wait, he said I did something terrible. And you go to the next page and you just get this full splash page, which is wonderful. Madam Hood looks so scary. And I can just like she looks so ghostly here. Like I wish I could hear her voice, but in my head it's very much like soft and evil. Who hasn't done something terrible they wish to bury? It's dope.
Yeah. She's like, it's okay, you can do this thing, don't worry about it. And her crystal ball lets her see all the people that were affected by his wrongdoings and all those things. You know, it's really, I mean, when you read a comic book like this, Yvonne, it's on another level. You know, it's just like, man, what is, and Danny and Brad, it doesn't feel like something that someone could make at the pace that a monthly comic book is made, you know, or in the same even regard as a lot of what the big two put out. There's just so much more design element to this, and the way that when you turn the page, like in the crystal ball, you see it reflected on evil bad guy's life, and then we understand that tells us what's about to happen as he's going to get his cards read, essentially. Because it seems like the way she gets you is you agree that she'll help you, and then she reads your cards, and because of how they come out, that's kind of sort of what happens to you.
Maybe. Yeah.
And
He's
she
a
even
bad
tells
dude,
him
though.
he is a bad dude. Looks like he did a lot of terrible financial stuff and like destroyed
Mm-hmm.
people's lives.
Embezzled. Yeah, made people lose their houses.
Right.
But of course, he's on Hyde Street, so he seems like he's more upset about the fact that his name's being dragged through the mud. Like, oh my gosh, my own board launched an investigation.
That's true. And he is short-sighted in the same way for a solution because she tells him that the price will be hefty. It's very much like you're about to sell your soul, so as long as you're cool with that, like it's all good. And he says, yes, whatever it costs, just make it stop. And then she starts to read his cards, and I'm assuming we're about to see like another example that clarifies some of like the dynamics of her powers or something from Sisterhood, the
Mm-hmm.
series. But then I was surprised that it appears like something happens. Like they can't, the cards don't want to behave and they like crash through the window and scare the guy. Like that was not what I saw coming.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. Like, first of all, we go from this like doom, gloom, like no lit room, and there is a ton of light suddenly. I just think the art on this is really cool to see how like quickly the mood has changed. And then he runs away.
And she gets very like I can't tell if maybe she's just frustrated because this is outside of her control, whatever happened. Because I feel like what gets revealed closer to the end here in a second, I think too, helps us understand why she's freaking out. But it's like if she really wants to get the soul and damn them, she's definitely not making him like ever come back to her for that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
like but she's clearly like out of sorts for whatever reason. And then I wasn't sure what the significance of the lightning bolt hitting the lantern directly above her was, unless it's like a signal from the matinee monster.
Maybe because she's like in mid crash out. There is no escape from Hyde Street. And we get this lightning bolt, which again, this like juxtaposition of colors is so great, which stops
Mm.
her mid sentence. And then she just kind of stands there. And then the next thing we see that one of the cards is the butcher, and we hear the words, "I'm a monster." Which I will say, until I turned the page, I didn't really know what was happening, and then all of a sudden, it's Pranky as the werewolf.
Yep. So we're not sure exactly the significance of that blue lit lantern, but like that's a thing because it stays lit.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do see the butcher, who we believe to be imprisoned within the matinee monster's castle. And
Mm-hmm.
just the coolest panel ever of Wolf Boy here and him screaming at Mr. X-Ray in the door to his office, it looks like.
Yeah, and I like he's like, "What did you do to me?" And then we see the next panel, and I do think Mr. X-Ray just looks pretty suave, where he said, "What did I do to you? Pardon me, small child. You did this to yourself."
It is fun to look around his little office and just see the knickknacks and things. Like there's like a giant eye that's in some sort of like holder thing, and there's actually a bottle of Devour in the back,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a normal pencil sharpener. It's just
Yeah.
funny to me. I'd like to see the books he's got there. The point is, he's like, no, you stole this, and this is how this thing works. I did not do this thing to you. You broke in here and took this thing. Yeah, and he's like very, very frustrated about that. And he also points out that he has no item. Like his whole shtick is that all my stuff has a catch. So why would you think that anything you could take from me, even my own glasses, have a catch? So why did you think anything you could take from me would just like give you power and work out fine?
And then, of course, Pranky being, well, probably a very, very old child at this point, but still
Oh yeah.
childlike in nature. He's like, "Get it off." It's like he just is not listening to the fact that, dude, this is your fault.
Right. Oh yeah. No, he's still just super, super frustrated about all of it, even when he tries to take it off of him. And this is where, if you recall, the big thing that X-Ray wants this to stop is Pranky loves to get in the way and take his souls that he wants to damn, because X-Ray really does want to get to the number and get out, and not like Pranky, who just wants to keep racking them up and stay. And he ultimately does try to reverse extort Mr. X-Ray, because X-Ray is like, well, if you don't agree to stop stealing my souls, I won't help you get the mask off. And he's like, well, I'll see that threat, and I'll raise you that I'll smash your fish people to smithereens. And then he's talking about the piranha people in the tank.
Yeah, and then Mr. X-Rays, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Piranha people might be small, but they can eat quite a lot. Yeah, I love the artwork here, where he's just the first thing we see is him like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, because it's like, well, you were going to put your head in there and eat a bunch of piranha people? That would not have been awesome either way. But I think we've seen them there. Like, it's not just something that's an aside that is like, oh yeah, he's got the piranha people instead of sea monkeys or whatever. But to me, it means that one day he's going to like use the piranha people for something for sure, you know. But they ultimately agree that he will help him get it off if he stops. Like, if he stops trying to take anybody that X-Ray is trying to damn. And then doesn't it look to you like he thinks he can actually pull it off?
Yes. I think he really thought he could pull it off, but I love that everything is so nonchalant. Well, this may be more difficult than I thought.
Yeah.
And did you find it interesting? So they leave the house, and then Miss Goodbody can hear their conversation from within her shop, which means that Mr. X-Ray's shop is close to Miss Goodbody's, which I guess makes sense.
I don't know. Yeah, I would say that these folks all seem to be around each other, because we've seen them walk around the town before in different issues and see the other shops in the background. Yeah. Did you notice how Reese, the monkey, who we'll talk about more at the end during his bio, you can see like he clearly is undead for sure. Like you can see through his ribs.
Creepy. I love how almost every time I feel like we see Hyde Street, it kind of looks like it's fall.
Yeah. That's my favorite season.
It's my favorite season too, but it is spooky season.
That would probably mean that if we ended up on Hyde Street, it would not be fall for us, because we would be happy in fall. Speaking of unhappy people on Hyde Street, another resident who has not been able to trap a single soul for quite a while and hasn't appeared for, I think, 2 issues, Miss Goodbody, who we talked about in the B cover by Gary Frank. She's inside that shop, and you can see she's still got all those stickers that tell people not to go in.
Because it's on the outside of the shop.
Yeah, and she can't get out. She has to stay inside. Yeah, that's part of her deal.
And she's like watching Mr. X-Ray help him, which it looks like makes her mad. She's eavesdropping.
Yeah, so I feel as though everything is deliberate, especially in the world of Jeff Johns writing. And so for us to get a half a page, 3 panels of Miss Goodbody overhearing them that Pranky's got something going on that he can't fix, and that they're going to go get help from the doctor, because you then get a full, like a 4th panel on the bottom with her 2 eyes glaring at the camera and her listening to Pranky say, who are we going to get help from? And X-Ray says, we need to see the doctor. And so there's something there. There's a reason it matters that she heard that. Otherwise, they would not show us that. What'd you think of the nurses?
Oh my gosh, they're so funny. I mean, they're deplorable.
Yes.
D and Del. And they're just gossiping the whole time. Eating pills, too.
Yeah, it's like this seriously leaned into stereotype of the representation of, that plastic surgery community, I suppose, like the vanity community. because she's one of them has a coffee, the other one has a prescription bottle, and they're being really creepy and they're totally absorbed in each other. And the real key there is that X-Ray's trying to tell them there's something going on, but they're super absorbed in each other. And in the process, we as readers benefit by hearing about that. I guess like he's somehow connected to Raquel Vane, who we've seen looks like a Raquel Welch allegory in the previous issues, and stuff like that. It's some exposition to teach us that. But then she's like, "Do you want a Clonny? I've got charts to ignore." And she said, "Oh, thank God! I thought I'd have to feel something today." So like it's interesting, right? Because they're not residents of Hyde Street because they're in service to a resident of Hyde Street. But it makes you wonder, like, are they victims of Hyde Street that found it like comfortable to just stay within that, like where they're victims, like because they get to be this and this is what they're comfortable being, or are they just magical like things that the resident has, because obviously the resident has power, and in this case he needs a medical quote unquote practice to be able to damn souls for their vanity, I would assume. But there's still like an actual functional purpose here, right? Because X-Ray's like, no, really, I need your help. This is actually like a thing I need a doctor for, and this is the kind of doctor I need. And they're not used to that type of thing at all. Like it's obviously like that, it's like that's not how someone ends up here. But he gets their attention, and she is like, Hyde Street only has emergencies though.
I like that.
Point.
And he's with a patient, and it sounds like they're just getting started after you hear like a horrifying scream.
Yeah, that's great pacing.
Yeah, I love, and then we get this big splash page. Try to stay still. We're chasing symmetry today.
No, that's so like terrifyingly poetic. Maybe like, hey Jeff, how'd you come up with that line? Like that's very like, whew, okay, buddy. That's you took a minute to think about what an evil plastic surgeon would say, and that's what an evil plastic surgeon would say. Like, whoo, buddy. Really, really amazing panel. Incredible detail from everybody involved. Pencils, inks, and colors there. And as we continue on, then we get a full page of him interacting with a quote-unquote patient who's strapped down and complaining that he didn't get any anesthesia. And he says his father told him that pain meant you were on the right track. I can only imagine the voice of this character being like just off kilter enough.
Yeah, very, very creepy. I'm interested, like, obviously they all have backgrounds themselves, and it feels like his might have to do with his father.
But he's creepy funny, right? Because X-Ray throws the door open, and they're like, the nurses are like, "This is highly inappropriate," and the doctor says, "I'm with a patient, Frederick, and he's still alive, I think." And so it's like, as soon as you see that, I think, you're like, okay, I get it. This is a funnier character, and I like that. Like, we've got enough dark misery and everything, so that can be a little bit fun. And
you can feel the comedic pause too, and Mr. X-Ray, it'll have to wait. There's a situation. Next panel, we get Frankie putting his head out to the side. "What's up, Doc?" And one, like, his face is in the same in the next two panels, where you can just tell he's like, no sound, like, come on, man. I see.
But it implies a sense of urgency within the residents, like that they actually care, because he actually is saying, okay, I will stop what I'm doing and I'll prep a room to help you, as if this is more important than the guy that I'm in the middle of damning or whatever. And so even though he's nuts, it's like, oh, that's interesting. Like, why is he making that a priority? Well, what's the reason there? And the humor continues, because he does say, these lines are awesome. Some amazing actor needs to say these lines on a screen. He says that he wants to set expectations A reminder that I thrive with elective surgeries, but my record is rather spotty when it comes to the rest. So, if you didn't come to me and want me to do it, I don't know. And then he even says, like, and bring me a lollipop, pineapple. There's probably some great actors that could play this character out there.
I'm picturing Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, sure. And so his solution, he ends up determining that it can't come off, like that he just doesn't see a way. And then he thinks of another idea because he knows what Mr. X-Ray's glasses are capable of. Is that the case?
It must be.
Okay.
Because we've never known. You know what I mean?
Well, they say like that they let people see their true selves or something like to that effect, right? But it's not, but then it implies though here in a second though that there's something deeper to the truth that we don't know and that only the doctor and X-Ray do know. But he says that he wants Pranky to put the glasses on because the interaction between his glasses and this monster mask should loosen the mask's grip because he would be able to see things differently, I guess. But then X-Ray yells at him. He's like, "You know the truth about my specs," like as if nobody else does. People don't wear my glasses; the glasses wear them. And so Frankie gets a vision, and this I think is why this kind of stuff is why they do a good job of peppering humor with non-humor, because we need the comic relief when we're about to see what happens to Pranky's mother, and he's essentially seeing a vision of his mom ending up in a camp in the war, and it's because of her ethnicity, and she's pregnant at the time. And so that in and of itself, we don't see how that necessarily makes the mask come off because we don't get that farther in the story. But it is quite interesting because it's another moment where you get to see the Pranky character have something of like an understanding of something that's not just evil, like we get to continue to see him kind of have a code and kind of be and then now he's going to experience this. And it's like, that's interesting that the glasses would show him that, like that they would, when they wear him, that's what they see. They see the very beginning, that's his like, I guess they consider that his origin in the world when he was in her belly.
I do think it's like some sort of form of misery because, like, obviously Dr. Ego's not a nice roundabout dude. He is cutting people's face up without anesthesia. So, like, before the glasses go on, he said, "This is going to be quite enjoyable to witness. It's a shame we can't see it." Like, so he kind of wants Pranky to be in misery, and he knows whatever is about to happen is not going to be a pleasant, like, yay, I got to see my mom experience.
And the reason we don't know yet is because the camera and the scene cut out to something different entirely, which is that Sisterhood has made her way all the way out to the Matinee Monsters Castle, where she is banging away at the door, courtesy of Rob Lee.
Well, you know what? I'm so intrigued because she says, "Open the door. I know this is against the pact," but his car came up. So what is the pact? You know what I mean?
Right. That implies they're all supposed to, a bunch of them are supposed to leave him alone, or they're all supposed to leave each other alone, or maybe it's a pact specifically to keep the Butcher trapped. But what she's saying is that because of her power, she knows that the Butchers, something's going to happen. And we all do believe that that's who the Matinee Monster has trapped in his castle, in that like cell that we've always seen with the word bubbles coming out of it. What's super interesting when we get this awesome, the way that Rob does the letters for the two giant castle doors opening. really great. And then this bright shot, to your point earlier about the change of color, the everything behind the matinee monster is bright and light and like dun, 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 like goodness is here, and that's an interesting placement. And she says to him,
It's happening again, Mr. Oddman. And these new residents, they won't survive what's coming. Like, wait, what is happening again? What? I'm so intrigued.
So my thought about it is that Pranky, has proven that you can do whatever you want on Hyde Street to an extent and get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps the reason he's the butcher of Hyde Street is because he doesn't butcher victims; he butchers residents so that they cannot do anything. I don't know. Like, I don't know how you would think in some of these cases it would be like, well, you can't really, like, some of the residents are probably rather powerful, but we haven't seen if you gain power by doing something like what Pranky does, or if you gain power by being a resident who maybe just doesn't get to the 10,000 in as long. And you've got to think there would be, even though it seems to be like Pranky wants to damn more souls because he kind of thinks he's doing something sort of good. It's not the same as somebody who would be like, I'd love to stay here and do this forever, because I don't think that's what Pranky gets out of it. But I'm sure there's somebody out there like that would just be like, what? I can just keep damning people for all time with his evil things. Like, oh yeah, I'll just stay here like Charlie Manson or crazy people,
Yeah.
Really cool page. And it looks as though the next one's going to be a big focus on more Dr. Ego because he's on the cover.
Which is exciting.
Did you get a kick out of the undead monkey biography?
Mm-hmm. I do also feel like down the road this is going to be relevant because he's obviously stalking Mr. X-Ray, kind of, but he has an unlikely friendship with the mysterious resident known as the Demon Within.
See, this is why these guys gotta, like, this could be such a good show because of the humor. Because of the humor, they drop into the darkness. And that's because Reese has struck an unlikely friendship with the mysterious resident known as the Demon Within, who secretly feeds him his favorite treat, stale banana chips. It's like, that's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
You're only putting that in there for a humorous reason, And however, to your point about the depth of it, the last two sentences of the bio read, don't be fooled by the fact that Reese is a monkey. He has thoughts, desires, and plans.
Yeah, sweet.
So very, very, very cool. And then you have one more ad in there because you still have Creature Crisp is a 1-for-20 ratio variant coming for Hyde Street number 9. Bugsy Berry is another 1-for-20 ratio variant for Hyde Street number 10. Both done by the glorious Sean Von Gorman.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
Don't forget to pre-order those. And there is a cool threadless ad with those also on the t-shirts. Those are pretty sweet t-shirts. I really like the ones with the circles that aren't, like, I think the box-shaped ones are sweet too, but I like the ones with the circle so that you just get the logo like that. Like, I want to get, I think, probably the bug one and the creature one. I will get those two for myself is what I'm leaning towards. Maybe Dr. Jelly and Mr. Peanut Butter too. I don't have a lot of stuff with that color palette, really.
That color palette.
Yeah.
Purple.
But hey, another fantastic issue of the ongoing series in Ghost Machine's Horrorverse, Hyde Street. Very, very, very cool. And last but not least, we do have a listener mail. Would you like to read this one, Snoggle?
Yes. Our fantastic mail is what Nick meant to say.
Forgot.
It's from Frisbee Bzz. They say, with Halloween just around the corner, have you guys ever thought about doing Ghost Machine Halloween costumes?
Well, have you? I mean, I think we talked about like maybe doing the Rockefellers because it was like getting some super suits that matched.
So last year, we made our debut as a family dressing up as a unit. Was that last year we did that?
I think it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we did an exceptional costume choice. We were Gravity Falls as a family. Yep. Last year, we were Pokemon. And in Gravity Falls, I was the old guy, and she and Bruce
You
were
were
Dipper and the sister.
Grunkle Stan.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then last year I was Ash Ketchum at the behest of my child who said I had to be Ash. I wasn't the creepy adult who said I had to be Ash in the group. And Bruce
was Pikachu. And I was
Snorlax?
no, I wish. They
Gengar?
didn't have it. I was Gengar.
You were Gengar? I like Gengar.
It was kind of awesome though, because the Pokemon suits were onesies, so I was like super warm, just walking around.
Yeah.
Very comfortable. This year, and I believe we could probably push him towards a Rockefeller family costume next year, but we're locked in for Stranger Things.
We are.
He decided.
Yeah, that's a good one. We're pretty excited about that. But we, if you go look at our Instagram reel history, you'll find some videos that we made together where I dressed up like Rook Exodus, and we'll probably do something like that. Maybe it might even wear that costume at a Renaissance fair or something near here. And I've done a few other ones. We've done Mr. X-Ray a couple times for some videos. And so in terms of us doing some for a group, I think the only things we could do would be like, we would probably do something like the Rockefellers and then utilize that for social media content around Halloween. But yeah, I've always thought it would be really cool to get some sort of glowing paint to do like a Geiger thing. And it's not hard to do red coat, but Nick Churton has got that on lock, right? He's done so many cool red coat cosplays for sure. But it'll be neat to see more and more people do, like Mr. X-Ray. Recently, if you go on our Instagram or the Reddit, the Ghost Machine Comics Reddit, or on the Ghost Machine Comics Discord, you can find the most recent Fan Friday actually has a really cool cosplay by, I believe the guy's name is Will Venture, and it's a Mr. X-Ray cosplay, and he had the glasses made custom. As he was making them, he was showing the group the different ways he tried to do it, and he made it so that like there's this cool smoke ring coming off of a cigarette he's holding, and it's super cool. So that would be, if you like that kind of stuff, go check that out. But I don't know that we'll be that for Halloween this year, but maybe sometime in the future, sure.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Also, make sure to come back next week when we're going to be talking about Geiger 17 and Hornsby and Halo number 9 that are both being released on the usual day that we air, Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. And if you want to check out all of our other content, you can go to www.ghostmachinefans.com, where all of our social media stuff, our friends of the show, and our wiki and good stuff like that are all up there. We would love for you to join the community.
And thanks for joining us tonight on the Ghost Machine Fans Podcast.
Horrifying podcast.